I am a writer who needs to actually start writing again. Last year, I wrote the first draft of a horror novel going under the name Project Magnolia. I have talked about it at length on this channel. I documented the process of writing that first draft. I knew that once I finished the first draft, I wanted to take a break from the project. So what started out as just a break from the project and a break to deal with some things in my personal life, such as moving and finishing up my academic semester, has now turned into many months of not working on really anything creative. As I've mentioned before in other videos, I am currently taking a lot of creative writing classes in school. I'm not majoring in creative writing, however, I am minoring in it. This entire academic year has been very challenging for me. One of those challenges is the fact that as of 2 months ago, I decided that I no longer want to major in English. This year has made me realize that I think instead of writing academic essays about books, I want to just be the person writing the books. That's a very simple explanation for the way that I feel. But one thing that it has made me realize is that I am still passionate about creative writing. And this year in particular, I've been learning so much about the craft of writing. I can almost physically feel my writing skills becoming better because of the things that I'm learning in school. But all of that being said, the work that I am doing for these creative writing classes is very, very different from the writing that I have been doing in my own time. More specifically, my horror novel. I have felt, I think, a little bit of insecurity about my writing and this feeling that working on this novel project is not the right thing that I should be doing at this stage in my life. And so I think in the last few months where I haven't been doing any writing of my own and all of my writing has been working on assignments for my creative writing classes, I think this whole time I've just been kind of like thinking in a spiral and I've been having all of these big thoughts about like establishing myself as a writer and what do I want my writing career to look like. I have to really think about the way that I felt when I was working on the first draft of Project Magnolia. And there was something magical about carving out the time to write and carving out the time to work on this project, despite the fact that I had all of these other things going on. So that's basically what my brain has been looking like for the past few months. And I've been unemployed since the beginning of the year, which I thought was going to be a magic solution for my creativity. Very, very, very quickly, I realized it was not working. So as of about 2 weeks ago now, I do have a new job, which is very relevant because starting today, I am working 5 days in a row. So I have not done any writing work yet today because I have been sitting here feeling anxious because I had to do like a quiz type thing for my German class, but I just finished doing it and you're going to see my live reaction as I see what I got on this quiz. <gasps> 19 out of 20. I think that's a win. Other than doing this right now, I have actually been feeling in a really good mood ever since I filmed the previous clip of me talking through all of my thoughts. I think it just felt really, really good to be talking to the camera and to try to explain what I've been thinking and what I've been feeling. However, I have also been feeling just a little bit anxious because I have to leave in less than an hour to go to work. It's just been a while since I felt this way, so and it's a new job as well, so like I'm not super comfortable doing what I'm doing there yet. I'm still meeting everybody. There's like a lot of people that work at this place. There's more staff, I think, at this new job than any job I've ever had before. I'll probably talk more about this job throughout the video because I am going to be going there every single day, but it is another sort of customer service job, but it's an environment that is also new to me. So I'm trying to tell myself that it's fun and exciting and that it's gonna be good for me in the long run to have a job again. With that, I'm gonna start getting ready and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. I really wish that I was joking when I say this, but it has been 20 days since I filmed that last update. Honestly, if anything, the fact that it's taken me so long to sit down and film an update just goes to show how bad this writing slump has been. That's what I've decided to call it now, because I feel like I just need to put a name to this thing that I've been experiencing for the past few months. It's been like 6 months. That's like half of a year. Let me just give you another quick life update. Spring is here. It is a gorgeous day right now outside my window. Yesterday was my last day of physically going to class. Technically today is my last day, but I am not going because I was supposed to meet up with my friend and we were going to do revision work together for the final assignment for the creative writing class that we have together, but plans fell through. However, today is one of my very few days off from working at my new job, which brings me to my third and perhaps most important life update, which is I have been working a ton, which if you've watched any of my videos from last summer when I was working at a restaurant, you would know that I am not a stranger to working a lot. Yes, because I've been working so much, I do feel a lot of the same feelings that I had back last summer that I talked about in many of my writing vlogs, where I just felt like writing was this thing that I was clinging to as a means to make myself feel like my life wasn't entirely dependent on my job. Right now, and this is the point of this update, is that I feel like I am in that same position, but it's so much worse because I'm not writing anything currently. All that this has been making me feel is this desperate need to get out of this writing slump and actually start creating something again. Today is April 20th, also known as 420, which also means that it has now officially been 1 month since I started filming this video. Can you even call this a writing vlog? Probably not, because I have done some writing, including writing outside of all of the creative writing assignments that I had to do before my semester finished. I am now officially done with school, or I should say with the semester. I am taking a summer class in less than 1 month, but for now we are putting that in the back of my brain. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent about my creative writing classes because really what I'm trying to focus on right now is how I can reincorporate writing into my life that doesn't involve writing for school. But I did have to do a fair bit of writing the last month to finish up my final assignments for the 3 creative writing classes I was taking. And in addition to that, a few days ago, on a day where I really wanted to pick up the camera and film an update, but just didn't get around to it, I believe because I probably ran out of time and had to go to work, or I just was not in the mood to pick up the camera and turn it on. I sat down on my bed behind me for probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and I made a new Google Doc and I just wrote some notes for what I would want draft 2 of Project Magnolia to look like. Now, with the things that I've said so far in this video, that probably does not come off as a surprise, because that seems like the logical step for me to take is to continue working on this project that I've already written the first draft for. However, for the last few months, I have been going back and forth constantly in my mind about trying to figure out what writing project I want to focus on. Obviously, option 1 is Project Magnolia. However, at the same time, there are 2 other projects that have been on my mind, both of which are projects that I have never drafted before, and that if I were to decide to pursue those projects, I would be writing completely fresh first drafts. One of those projects I have talked about before in a writing vlog. I talked about it for arguably way too long in the writing vlog I made back in October when I was focusing on finishing the first draft of Project Magnolia. I swear I talked for 10 minutes straight about this other project and how it was eating away at my brain, and how I felt like I almost had to force myself to focus on Project Magnolia and try to finish up that first draft, because otherwise this other project was gonna take me over. It was just consuming so many of my thoughts. It's a project that has been bouncing around in my mind ever since spring of 2024, so I guess 2 years now. And it's definitely the kind of project that it feels like it's always existing in my brain. And it is just like slowly but surely getting bigger and bigger and bigger as I get more ideas for it. It's a story that I know I'm going to write someday, but I really want to make sure that when I decide to write it, I'm writing it at the right time. Am I ever going to feel like I'm ready to write it? I don't know. I think I've said these same words before, but it's a very large story. It's a contemporary story. It's not like fantasy or anything like that. I don't mean it's large in like a world building aspect. I mean it's large in the sense of like how much time I want the story to cover. There are 3 characters that are in my mind for this story, and all 3 of them I can see myself wanting to develop their like not their entire life story, but like their stories from like childhood up until whenever I decide the present timeline to be set. It may or may not involve a sport called hockey. This project has a couple of like potential like project names in my brain, but it's a hockey book and it's got some romantic elements to it, that's for sure. But at its core, I think it's a story about ambition and about fame and about growing up and about your relationships changing as you age and as you turn into different people. That's probably enough for me to share. Then the second project that has been bouncing around in my brain, albeit a lot less so than the hockey book, is a contemporary summer romance. I just feel like writing a romance book right now would just be good for my soul, but I also don't know if I could successfully write a romance book right now, considering my sort of slightly pessimistic views on relationships. This book idea is a lot less developed. The setting for this book would be a very big component to it as well, and the setting is inspired from the setting of my very first book that I wrote, which was a young adult mystery / contemporary set in a small town on Vancouver Island here in BC, which is the province I'm from. Although I'm no longer working on that story and I don't see myself revisiting it anytime in the future just because I don't really want to write young adult right now, that setting and certain aspects of that story have definitely been like still hanging out in my brain. And I feel like even if that book sort of gets shelved and never sees the light of day, there's definitely some things from it that I could extract into future projects. So to clarify everything for you, since I finished draft 1 of Project Magnolia in October of last year, I basically have not been working on anything personal. Pretty much all of the writing that I have done has been for my creative writing classes that I've been taking at university. The only work that I've done on Project Magnolia is back in January. I read through draft 1, made a writing vlog, then I made another writing vlog where I attempted to do some brainstorming work for draft 2, but honestly, I don't think that my heart was in it. I feel like I was really stressed about other things going on in my life, and I was really stressed about my creative writing classes, and I think that I felt a bit of pressure to revisit the project, partially because I so desperately wanted to be making videos at the time, and it's not possible to make videos about your writing when your writing is not going well. And now that my semester is finally over, and now that I'm not going to be taking any creative writing classes until next fall, I think now is finally the time that I can start writing again. And hopefully making videos, but only if the writing is going well. I'm also just kind of giving up on trying to be consistent, or at the very least, putting pressure on myself to be consistent. I'm trying to learn from all of the challenges that I've gone through in the last year, whether it be from my writing, my job, my school, most importantly. I'm going through a phase right now where I feel like what I'm trying to do is just reevaluate myself And even if consistency and setting monthly goals and having a routine and all of those things worked well for me in the past, back when I was like 14, 15, 16 and writing a book, I think I'm starting to realize that now my habits have changed. I think I'm changing as a writer. As of right now, in this very moment, I think that what I'm going to do is start working on draft 2 of Project Magnolia. However, I think I am going to be pantsing the hell out of this draft. I also think, fingers crossed, I'm going to be making another writing vlog sometime soon about starting draft 2 or preparing for draft 2, whatever it might look like. Anyways, that is plenty enough talking for today. I feel so rejuvenated though. I go too long without talking to this camera and talking to you, and every time I sit down and start doing it again, I'm reminded of why I chose to do this thing in the first place. I don't know what's wrong with me, I don't know why I can't be consistent, but I don't care, because if there's one thing that I've learned from watching authortube is that other people are the same, and I don't need to be consistent to be good. That is not the key to success, although it kind of is, because you do have to keep showing up to finish anything. Consistency in showing up is not the same as consistency in terms of output. Happy to be back. Happy you're here. Hope to see you soon when I start writing again. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.